What if the person who saved your life was someone the world barely noticed? No fame, no money, no cameras following him around. Just a quiet stranger who appeared out of nowhere whenever someone was at their lowest point. Imagine losing hope, feeling completely alone, and then suddenly meeting someone who changes everything with a single act of kindness. Someone who helps you, disappears, and asks for nothing in return. Sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you this mysterious man had a secret of his own? A heartbreaking truth that nobody discovered until it was too late. Because sometimes the people who spend their lives saving others are the ones silently suffering the most. The town itself was nothing special. Just an ordinary place where people lived busy, repetitive lives without paying much attention to the struggles around them. Everyone had somewhere to be, bills to pay, problems to deal with. Most people kept to themselves. Smiles were rare, conversations were short, and kindness often felt forgotten in the middle of everyday life. And then there was the stranger. Nobody knew his real name. Nobody knew where he came from or where he stayed at night. Some people had seen him walking quietly through the streets wearing the same old jacket every day, while others barely noticed him at all. He didn't look important. In fact, he looked like the kind of person most people would ignore without a second thought. Quiet, simple, alone. But slowly, strange stories started spreading around town. A struggling single mother opened her front door one morning and found bags of groceries sitting outside with no note attached. An elderly man whose car broke down during heavy rain claimed that a stranger stayed with him for hours, helping him fix it before disappearing without even giving his name. A homeless man woke up one freezing night to find blankets, food, and medicine placed beside him while he slept. At first, people thought these were random acts of kindness from different individuals. But as more stories appeared, one detail kept repeating itself. Witnesses always described the same person, the same quiet man with tired eyes and a calm smile. The stranger never stayed long enough to be thanked. He would help someone, smile gently, and walk away before anyone could stop him. It was almost as if he didn't want recognition at all. And over time, something unusual began happening in the town. People started waiting for him, wondering about him, talking about him. Because somehow, this mysterious stranger always seemed to appear exactly when someone needed hope the most. At first, people barely noticed him. The stranger walked through town quietly, wearing the same old jacket every day, never drawing attention to himself. He didn't speak much, and he never stayed in one place for too long. Most people assumed he was just another lonely man trying to get through life. But then strange things started happening around town. A single mother struggling to feed her children opened her door one morning and found bags of groceries waiting outside. There was no note, no sign of who left them there. A few days later, an elderly man whose car broke down in the middle of heavy rain told people that a stranger stayed beside him for hours helping fix the engine before quietly walking away. Soon, more stories spread. Someone paid for a homeless man's medicine. A bullied teenager was protected by an unknown man who disappeared before anyone could thank him. Every witness described the same person, calm eyes, quiet voice, gentle smile. The town became curious. Who was this man? Why was he helping everyone without asking for anything in return? But no matter how many times people tried to stop him and ask questions, the stranger always disappeared before they got answers. As weeks passed, the stranger became something people talked about every day. Some believed he was simply kind. Others thought there was something deeper about him, but just as suddenly as he appeared, he vanished. Days went by without anyone seeing him. The small acts of kindness stopped. The town felt strangely empty without him, as if hope itself had quietly disappeared. People began wondering if something had happened to him. Then one evening, a local nurse recognized him from a security camera image shown online. Her face immediately changed. She knew exactly who he was. The truth shocked everyone. The stranger had been visiting the hospital regularly for months. He wasn't healthy at all. In fact, he was terminally ill. Doctors had told him he didn't have much time left to live. People couldn't believe it. The man who spent his days helping others was secretly fighting his own battle alone. While everyone else focused on their own problems, he was living every day knowing his time was running out. Yet instead of becoming bitter or angry, he chose to spend his remaining time spreading kindness to complete strangers. And suddenly, every act of kindness meant even more than before. After learning the truth, the entire town wanted to find him. Not because they were curious anymore, but because they wanted to thank him properly before it was too late. Eventually, they found him sitting quietly near a lake outside the town. He looked weak, thinner than before, but peaceful somehow. For the first time, people approached him not as a mystery, but as someone who had changed their lives. One by one, they thanked him. The single mother told him how he fed her children when she had no hope left. The old man thanked him for staying beside him during the storm. Others shared stories of how one small act of kindness from him had completely changed their lives. The stranger listened quietly, smiling softly. Then he looked at them and said something none of them would ever forget. People wait their whole lives for the world to become kinder, without realizing they can be the reason it does. Not long after that night, the stranger passed away. But his kindness didn't disappear with him. The people he helped started helping others too. Slowly, the town changed. Neighbors became closer. People smiled more. Strangers became kinder to one another. And in the end, the man nobody truly noticed ended up changing everyone. The stranger was gone, but the impact he left behind remained everywhere. The town that once felt cold and disconnected slowly became different. People started helping each other more often. Neighbors checked on one another. Small acts of kindness became part of everyday life. And the most beautiful part was this: many of those people had been inspired by a man they never truly knew. A man with no fame, no wealth, and no recognition. He never asked for attention. He never wanted rewards. He simply chose to make the world a little less painful for others, even while carrying pain of his own. And maybe that's what made him unforgettable. Because sometimes, the strongest people are not the ones who show their struggles to the world. Sometimes they are the ones quietly helping others smile while fighting battles nobody can see. Years later, people in the town still remembered the stranger. Not because of what he owned, but because of how he made others feel. And in the end, that became his greatest legacy. One small act of kindness may seem unimportant to you, but to someone else, it can change everything. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more emotional and inspiring stories. Because sometimes the people who change the world the most are the ones nobody notices at first.